Welcome back everyone to another video about Once Human. Now, the Way of Winter is finally done. We've finished the scenario, we've got only the sign up left, we've completed it all, we've beat all the objectives, and Jesus Christ, 194 thermal towers, that's quite impressive. Give me that star crumb, here we go. So, the season's done, and I feel like it's the perfect time to actually, talk about it a little bit and give you my conclusion and final opinion of the season. As I've mentioned in the previous video, I actually do love a lot of the things they've added into the game, in particular, the height system. I really love the height system, the way it expands the crafting mechanics, although as I've mentioned, it's kind of bare bones. I really wish they could have done more with it, and I hope that they will expand upon it in the future. A few people kind of misunderstood what I meant when I said there's no different animals. Yeah, they've added some animals like the buffalo or the reindeer, yeah, obviously. But what I meant by that is there's like 4 different wolf hides, 3 or 4 different rabbit hides, 3 deer hides, but they all drop from the same kind of animal. It doesn't matter where you get it, which level it is, they all drop the same shit. It's all RNG based. Now, yeah, it would require a lot of work, basically crafting new animals, or I don't know, even just reskinning them. But I feel it would have been more, more entertaining and immersive if, you want the high-leveled, wolf hides, you'll have to go to more inhospitable and high-leveled areas to fight them, to hunt them down. I'm not asking for, Red Dead Redemption level of hunting mechanics. No, just reskin the wolves or something, reskin the animals, make their spawn rate slower. There's so many options. But I feel like they just went with the most simple and easy option, which is just add a RNG loot table to it, and that's it. There's 3 different bosses, which is the Secret Servitor, Avalanche Monolith with the Tree Ant, and the Fire Dust Monolith with the Forsaken Giant. All these bosses, with the exception of the Secret Servitor, have been featured in the previous scenario. That's no new bosses. It's the same bosses. Even the Secret Servitor, you could fight it in the Prime Wars. So technically, it's not even really a new boss. Even with the final level dungeon that everyone needs to clear, you still fight the Secret Servitor. There's no really new bosses. Is what I'm saying. Yeah, they sure added the Chaos Weavers, but they're bullet sponges and they're not challenging at all. Honestly, the Chaos Weavers were kind of fucking boring, in my personal opinion. They were kind of boring. And it all comes back to my initial complaint about the structure of the phases. Phase 1, familiarize with the mechanics, with the area, stuff like that, learn the area, learn the stuff. Then we get the Chaos Weavers at phase 2. Start fighting them. What do you do next? You fight Chaos Weavers. What do you next? Fight Chaos Weavers. There's no variation between them. You spend, each phase was 9 days. That you spent 27 days fighting the same kind of boss with no variation. They just got higher levels. Wow, that's such a challenge. Holy crap! But that's basically all you end up doing. You just fight them, the same kind of boss, for almost a month. And the worst part, a lot of people I know, they don't care about the story. For spoiler alert, for those who actually are interested in the story, basically the main villain walks over to you, said, "Haha, you can't stop me. I'm too cool. Come and try and stop me." So you come over here to try and stop him. But do you stop him? There's no cutscene, there's no climax to the story. You just fight them, and you don't know if you stop them. You don't know if you actually, interrupted his plans. It was the same issue with the first scenario, with the Manibus. Did you actually stop the Manibus? You kind of fought it, but you don't know. I assume that they're just doing it to, prolong it into a next scenario where you'll have to face him again. But it's kind of weird that there's just no conclusion. There's no satisfying conclusion to any of the scenarios yet. It's kind of weird like that. Further down the line, I kind of expect them to probably go back to the earlier scenarios and, you know, do a little touch-up for them. Maybe rework the story a little bit. Way of Winter did show that they are improving. For example, pretty much all the conversations with the NPCs are voice acted. There's a few cutscenes here and there. Granted, my experience with the cutscenes was kind of awful. If you've played through the story, the reveal of the main villain with the Chaos Weaver, yeah, it didn't load the Chaos Weaver or the villain, so I spent like a minute watching empty air as the villain laughed because it didn't load or render their models. So that was a fun cutscene. I wish I had that on video, but that was kind of fun. For the technical aspects, well, I'm happy to inform everyone that the bugs were fixed. Yeah, by phase 3, all the bugs were reduced. As I've mentioned, yeah, a lot of the perks of the thermal towers just didn't work. And yes, they did not work. A lot of people said that, well, you just needed to turn it on. Well, the perks that were passive and did not require the tower to be turned on did not work. So that doesn't actually explain anything. It's not me just being dumb and not turning the thermal tower on. Not to mention, there were a lot of reports of people just being plain unable to turn their towers on. Yeah, that also happened. But thankfully, it's all been resolved and fixed fairly quickly too, within a week. All the reports that came flooding, they fixed every single issue regarding the thermal towers. Yeah, there were a few bugs here and there in regards of other things, but they're fixing it. I'm happy to see that they are working on it and fixing on it. Now I wanted to bring up what I feel is like the biggest issue of this game as a concept. And it's that the game's just gonna be good in like a year or two. Now, hold on, before you go down to type in the comments calling me out on some stupid opinion, hear me out. The concept of the game is the timed content, the scenarios that are there for a set amount of time, and then you either replay them or play a different scenario. The game's gonna get good in only like a year or two when we have enough scenarios. To give you this as an example, I just finished The Way of Winter. And I'll be honest, I don't feel like playing it again. I genuinely don't. As far as scenarios go, the Manibus scenario, which I've already played twice, is more entertaining because there's at least Prime Wars and stuff like this. But over here, there's the Chaos Weavers, which, I'll be honest, I fought Chaos Weavers only 3 times. I completely ignored them. Like, they're not fun to fight. They're just not fun. And that's the only thing you get in this scenario, just the Chaos Weavers. And there's no point in building the thermal tower. As you've seen, there's 193 towers on the server. And yeah, why would I need that? I mean, yeah, get the acid. That's the only reason. Get the perk that gives you the acid, and that's it. Call it a day. You don't need anything more. All the other perks are kind of useless and worthless. You don't even need to defend it. You don't need to turn it on. Like, it's like, mechanically and functionally speaking, the thermal tower is not really necessary for anything. As a game itself, Once Human is actually insanely successful. On launch, it had over 200,000 players. For a free-to-play game, that is insanely good. That is insanely good. And the fact that they maintained over 100,000 players for nearly 2 months, yeah, that's really good. In fact, Once Human is one of the most successful games on Steam this year. As far as earnings go, they're in the top 25. They earned like $50 million from all the shop items and all the stuff. So yeah, the game is actually very successful. I'm not saying the game is a failure or something like that because I have a few negative opinions about it. I generally do love the game. But yeah, considering that right now, like the peak of players is only like 50,000 players, yeah, a lot of it is natural drop-off. A lot of it is natural drop-off, but yeah, those were the numbers before the update. The fact that the Way of Winter came out, and within a week, all the players that came back left once again. Yeah, it also tells a story there. The fact that they came back expecting something exciting and realized that it's not as exciting as they hoped it would be. Yeah, they need to work on the scenarios and make it more entertaining. Make it more than doing one thing for a month, is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like they kind of blundered with The Way of Winter. It's got really good building blocks. But that's all it is. It's building blocks. The thing they could build with it is not there yet. So it's only a question of time. But if it's a question of time, right now, all we gotta hope is that they actually do have the same, a good amount of players that will wait for that. Of course, there's the conundrum of the players. A good half of them are crying about getting new content. Give us content now. We want more now. While the other half are saying, let them cook. Let them cook. Let them release more quality content. I'm of the latter crowd. I prefer like content that actually is, you know, engaging in some way, more fun, more built up, not half-assed. And yeah, it's really a hard balance to achieve. Like, I feel that the developers need to pick a side, because it's impossible to please everyone. That's just the reality of it. You can't please everyone. But I prefer that they release content that is actually, you know, finished, properly built up. A lot of the stuff in the Way of Winter feels like it's to appease the people that are crying for new content. They gave you new content, but it's just the building blocks of it. That's the issue. In my personal opinion, I feel that they should focus more on actually building up content properly, without half-assing it, without rushing it, finishing it, and releasing a, like, you know, a built-up, properly finished pack of things to do. Again, it all comes down to how they structure the phases, because, yeah, Way of Winter, yeah, you spend a month doing the same thing. It's interesting the first week, annoying the second week, and on the third week, I just fucking skipped it. I did not touch a fucking Chaos Weaver whatsoever. I was not interested. It was boring. It's just a bullet sponge, and it's not even challenging. It's not even a challenging fight, it's just time consuming. So yeah, that's basically it. I decided not to do a long and drawn out rant. I've said what I wanted to say, spoke about all the points I wanted to raise, and that's basically it. Now all that is left is just hoping that the next scenario they release is going to be actually more content heavy. That they'll actually learn from this. Definitely not from this video. I don't think they're ever going to watch it, but I'm pretty sure that I'm not the only one who felt that the Way of Winter is kind of repetitive and boring. But here's hoping. Here's hoping that they will actually do that. And yeah, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for hearing me out, and be sure to leave a comment. As you know, I try to respond to all the comments. Like the video, subscribe, you know, all that stuff, all the YouTuber stuff. So go ahead and do that. I really appreciate you being here, and thank you for listening. I'll see you all next time.